Nemesis. Why am I not hearing anything?
Hello.
We are live.
All right. Hey, we're live. We're live.
Hey.
Coming to you from planet Earth. We are the Crimson Head Elder podcast. Today, this is extremely exciting. We have the fabulous Neil Newbon on, who of course plays Nicholai in Resident Evil 3. But he does so much more than that. And I would like to let Neil elucidate and enumerate the many talents of Neil Newbon. Neil, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much for having me on. And yeah, indeed, I can start rattling off how I'm a ukulele player and gardener and things like that.
Hey, fantastic.
Well, actually, I'm not. No, I lied. I'm really not. It's quite underwhelming. But,
damn it. See, this thing is. That's it. I'm out. This thing is blown already. He's already lying to it.
Thank you. No, thanks very much. Thanks very much.
You're so much more. You're so much more than just a voice on a video game. Just throw out 7 or 12 things that you actually do as an actor.
Sure thing. As I said to you guys earlier before, actually, I should really have an acronym for the things that I do. It's a little overwhelming. So, what was I going to say? So yeah, I am a actor. I'm an actor. I'm a performance capture artist. I'm a voiceover artist. I'm a creature specialist, and I also specialize in stunts and martial arts and combat and weapons and things like that. I'm also a consultant now for performance for games. I'm also doing performance directing. So I directed, for instance, the Borderlands 3 Happy Together trailer. I did the performance direction for the shoot that we did in Central, which was awesome. Yeah, it was really fun. Working with obviously the devs and also Trailer Farm as well. So yeah, I do have many hats, man. In fact, it's just a single hat with a rotating clicking button. So the lazy boy hat.
Lazy Susan hat. You just spin.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, you just spin it. It's like, what's going on today? No, I'm very incredibly blessed. I have. I've been up until the lockdown and everything, and even during the lockdown, I'm still working as a voiceover artist on a really wonderful AAA RPG, which I'm super excited to be a part of.
Isn't that wonderful? That's one of the great things about what you do is that you can, even given the lockdown, you can continue to work and provide us with entertainment to keep us sane.
Interestingly, I mean, interestingly, games have really thrown the games industry, gamers, developers, studios especially, who gave me my first gigs. They really threw their arms wide open for me when I first started working in performance capture and voiceover. I am incredibly blessed and very, very grateful to be a working actor. I don't take it for granted. So every second I finish a gig, I'm always unemployed and wondering what the. Can I swear? Can I use profanity, by the way?
Oh, that's up to Paul. I don't effing mind, but
okay. Well, do we have profanity on the show?
Well, I think when we're on Twitch, we have a slightly more flexible rules in terms of profanity than we do when we're on YouTube. So yeah, go for it.
Oh, thank fuck for that. Okay, good, because I'm notorious profanity user. Okay.
Every time you hear this sound, you'll know that.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a big proponent of what Stephen Fry says, who, I mean, he's a big fan too of profanity and says that, it's actually the people with a limited vocabulary that kind of almost more often take offense at profanity. And sometimes, it can be wonderful injection used in the right way.
Well, actually, I worked with Stephen. I actually did a film with him back in when was it? 2001. We did it was an English speaking film, but it was actually a Dutch production called The Ontdekking van de Hemel, which is based on a book by Harry Mulisch. Yeah, you're welcome. So it was so it was a book based on like returning the Covenant to God. It was kind of a weird sci-fi stroke,
Oh wow.
kind of religious kind of thing. It was really interesting. It was a very fascinating book, and the film was pretty good. It was my first the first feature film I was ever in, actually. So yeah, I got to work with Stephen. Stephen's amazing. He is really truly an oracle of knowledge. I know we have an oracle of dragons here.
Yes, we do.
So,
Yes, we do.
he is the oracle of literally anything. I mean, he and I would spend hours together, really, which was a wonderful thing as a young actor, to be able to get to know somebody who is like that, who is extraordinarily talented at everything he tries.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. We're very lucky.
Yeah,
to have him.
he's a really nice guy. I'll go on record by saying I really liked him, and he's a really nice guy, and he's wonderful to work with. So yeah, there you go. So I've been very lucky, man. I've worked throughout my career in theatre, TV, film, and games. And games has been extraordinary. The welcome I've got from people, from fans of the games I've been in, to the work that I've done, to the opportunities. I mean, I get to be a character actor, which is, for most actors, regardless of what you look like, is really, I think, a big driving thing for most people. It's like,
I have to say, I have to totally agree with you. As a voiceover actor, I get to play roles I would never get to play as physically, because I don't look physically like the parts. That's the most brilliant thing about it. You just get to do everything, and you're a wonderful actor, and extremely you have so many talents that you're kind of perfect for the video game world, because you can you can do on camera, you can do performance capture, you can do facial capture, you can also do the voices of the things, and you can also lead a weapons crew, or it's like you were made for the current game industry.
Without sounding like, oh, I'm so fucking amazing. Without sounding like that. I mean, without sounding like a complete tool about it. I am. You're right. I have to literally go, oh, stop it. It's like, thank you. I appreciate that enormously. But yeah, I mean, weirdly, all the skills that I learned, I have a lot of military skills. I have a lot of martial arts skills. I used to dance. I used to do all kinds of things like that. And a lot of that was way before my TV, film, even theatre career was kind of kicking. It was actually just stuff I was interested in, like learning how to shoot a bow and arrow. Like, I was a geek, man, and what can I say? I was a card-carrying geek. I still am a card-carrying geek. I am a paid-up member of the guild. And
I was going to mention that. I think your dues are
yeah, it's the coronavirus. We're taking a holiday.
Neil, can I ask him, in terms, we're getting so many questions here. You've got so many fans in the live chat. I'm sure you can see. Goldheart 180 says, was your portrayal of Nicholai, was that your first job in voice acting?
Oh no, goodness. No, as I said, I've been working for 10 years now in games. And I've been doing a whole bunch of mixture of performance capture, creature work, and also mocap work, and also voiceover work. The very first game gig I ever did, I'm trying to think properly. I think it was actually the original version of Secret World. That might be wrong. There may have been something else before that. There was an animated film actually that I did before that. But I did the original before Secret World became Secret World Legends, and I really enjoyed the game. I've got to say, I played it quite a lot. I really got a kick out of it. But I play 3 or 4 different characters in that game. One of them's John Galahad, who's just a hoot to play. He was just basically a drunk who thinks he's a knight of the round table. It's great. And I played a Gregarian monk and shit like that. It was really fun. I'm pretty sure that was the first official game voice that I did, and that must have been a good 6 years ago, I think, when that game first came out. Now it's Secret World Legends, so it's still existing, I think. Yeah, it's cool.
Because you mentioned before to us you're a gamer, so who's very well versed in the original Resident Evil game.
I am. Yeah, I'm terrible. I was shockingly bad at those games. To the point, I think I spoke to somebody else about it the other day. I was just, it was like the PlayStation gave up on me, and as I left the door, it just the last thing it said in a very quiet but even voice was, "Leave the control on the desk." I was just like, I just felt that game did not want me to progress very far, and we should just be okay with that. And then 2 came out, same thing. 3 came out. I mean, 3 it was like, okay, just doesn't stop coming after you. Fine. You know what? Fuck it. I'm good. I'm okay. I'm gonna play Final Fantasy. Well, what the hell? I'll play Final Fantasy. Cool. So yeah, I really liked the games. I have to say, I really liked them. I was just pretty shockingly bad at all of them.
No. Leave it plugged in. Just leave it on.
just
leave it plugged in
on the door. Yeah. So it was like that.
Well, kind of building off of that. How familiar were you? Did you play the original Resident Evil 3? Nemesis.
I did, yeah, I did. And again, it was just like it was. I mean, let's not forget at the time the graphics were really amazing. Like, your mind kind of forgave a lot. Like the elder gamers on listening, or like amongst us, and I'm one of those. Our minds would forgive so much, whereas now we look back and go, my God, I thought that was just mind-blowing graphics at the time. You can't even see whether he's got a nose or not. It's just like, wow. I was wowed by that. I remember actually Mickey Mouse Castles of Illusion on the Genesis. Second level. Do you remember the second level? The leaf level with the spiders? The music was so hypnotic. I got into a thing where I just started deliberately killing Mickey because that was going so well with the music. It made me feel at peace, which I'm sure there's probably a lot of therapy in there, with me and Mickey Mouse. I don't know what it is about Mickey Mouse.
There's something about
nightmares. Yeah, there's something about Mickey Mouse that really creeps the shit out of me. I'm joking, of course. Disney, please give me. Yeah, it's just like those games were a big part of my childhood, man. And I started on Spectrum 48K. I used to do the whole 45 minutes.
Holy
right. And that, talk about emotional investment. 45 minutes for a single game to load, to then get into the game, to then try and desperately get the tape back in to save, every 5 minutes.
Tape.
A cassette tape, man.
Tape.
Yeah, on fucking cassette tape. It's not even floppy disk, right? And then you forget that one moment. You forget, and you're a good 5 hours since your last save point, or whatever the thing is you're doing. Or whatever, I don't know, man. And it crashes, and you just look at the city and go, I don't have the time in the day to invest in this again.
And when I see my son sort of complaining and sort of clicking his fingers, waiting for loading times of 4, 5, maybe oh my God forbid 6 seconds. And
every parent out there, source if you can of Spectrum 48K, make them play that fucking thing, and then they'll tell you. Yeah, and then when you're limiting their gameplay, they will respect you for it. They will love you for it. Wow, you're giving me a whole 45 minutes? Cool, I only got 2 minutes last time on the Spectrum. That's brilliant. I mean, come on.
Of course, those saves as well. You get 3 lives, and at the end of that, so you go all the way back to the beginning again. I mean, gaming back then was unforgiving.
Unforgiving, man. Unforgiving.
Yeah. Wow.
I look at Dark Souls. It's like, yeah, that's how it used to be, dude. It's like it was that.
Dark Souls. Yeah. Right. There is. Yeah, I mean, there is something. I just wanted to go back really quick. You were talking about the music, how hypnotic it was, and there's just something about gaming back in the day, where I feel like the music really drove a lot of the atmosphere. As games became more realistic these days, it sort of. I'm not saying that the music takes a back seat, but it seems like the environments and the the graphics of the characters themselves. I mean, everything's basically photorealistic. It's almost like the music doesn't drive the atmosphere as much as what you're doing in these games. Yeah,
I know. I get what you're saying. I think the thing is, back in the day, it's okay, take the example of when I first started doing game work. When I was first doing motion capture, it wasn't even performance capture because we didn't have HMCs, head-mounted cameras, so much. And there wasn't any finger data. It was just body work, right? Mm-hmm. And that time... This is a generalization, obviously, but by and large, the script was, really fun, and the projects were amazingly fun to be a part of. But the story sometimes was very much like the game is the thing, the story doesn't matter so much. The holes in it, cool, we'll paste over that. It's just about the experience, right? With the advent of better software, better rendering, better, photorealism, and there was also an inevitable push towards realistic, naturalistic performances, which for us is amazing because we went through the the wonderful mill, I would say, of mocap, of doing nothing but mocap and trying to make those performances come out without being able to use. I mean, occasionally you use audio, occasionally it might even be your voice, but by and large, it's like sometimes you couldn't even rely on that. So to see it come to where it is now is incredible, because the nuance is there now in performances. And I'd say that the music, which may have driven a lot of the emotionally charged scenes of cutscenes and things like that, blends now with performances and voice work, and everything blends together just like it does in film and television. So I think it's not so much that the music is sort of taking a backseat. I think it's more that everything blends and works really well now. Gamers, I think I would say by and large, I am a gamer. I should not say I want a story that is as compelling and as interesting as the gameplay. I want to have characters that I invest in as much as the time I'm spending playing, which these days isn't very much. Yeah, Last of Us broke a fucking boundary, man. I mean, I met Troy a few times. You know, Troy's great. I met him a couple of times, and we had dinner. We hung out. I got to know him really well in a relatively short space of time. And the work that he did, the work that other actors doing, the work that Neil Druckmann did, and all the incredible number of developers that are making these incredible games. It's a golden age of gaming, man. It really is. And I would like to say that as well, that it's wonderful to be invited on your show and shows like it as well, and having people interested in my work. But please, anybody listening, do read the credits of every game that you play. Don't just fixate on people people that are playing the roles. Fixate and get interested in the developers and the makers of the game. See how many people go to making a game, because that is mind-blowing. Ours is the last piece of the puzzle. Theirs is all the work in that. We just play, man.
Yeah. It's entirely true.
Yeah. So I would like to
thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, it's all good.
I'm one of those people who doesn't leave a movie theater until the lights come up. I watch every bit of the credits because I want to know who made. Yeah. Especially if I enjoy a film, I want to know who worked on it.
For sure.
Being a cog in the great machine that is the film industry, I'm just a cog. I'm just a small gear in that process. But I see it from the standpoint of someone who understands just how complex the machinery is. And the fact that anything gets made, the fact that any movie, any video game, any TV show actually makes it to the screen is a friggin' miracle.
Oh, for sure. Even the worst movie on the planet. And I watched Samurai Cop the other day and had a great time with that movie. Because Samurai Cop is literally the worst movie in the world. But even to me, and also, every single scene has something wrong with it. If you haven't seen Samurai Cop, do yourself a favor, especially if you know about the film industry, or rather know about filmmaking, watch it, because there is nothing right in that film. Everything is wrong. Literally every scene, there is something from the samurai. I'm gonna do a spoiler alert, but it's been out for 30 years. Spoiler alert, there's a bit where one of these samurais gets out of a hospital trolley to kill someone, and then gets back in the hospital trolley to get out, or somebody else pushes him out. It's amazing.
That's brilliant.
Brilliant film. Great film. But even that piece of shit. Even that piece of shit, even that awful film, took a lot of hard work and effort to make.
Absolutely. Hey, if you ever want to see a real piece of shit, look at a movie that I did in the 80s called Assault of the Party Nerds.
I will now find that movie. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's real classic.
We do have movie night in the household, and that is
total fertilizer. Total fertilizer.
You have to text me that again, but yeah, thank you so much. I will totally check that.
I'm looking forward to that one. Yes.
But more to your point, they're so complex. In video games today, if you look at the credits, there are 10,000 people that work on, all around the world. You've got teams in Asia, in Australia, in all over Europe.
I worked with a company in last year actually for 5 months on a huge AAA epic game, which is going to be just mind blowing. Which of course I can't tell you about. So I worked on this thing which was incredible. I know, man. Sorry. On this thing with Digit Motion, who are an incredible, amazing performance capture stage and company, and they worked on Final Fantasy 15's Klingslave that I worked on. They did a whole section of stuff that I was also a part of. And I actually ended up working with some people that literally did the performance capture for us. Like, dude, we worked on the same thing like 5 years ago. That's so weird and strange. Wow. And it's just this, and wonderful as well, because you think, oh wow, all of our performances went together to make this thing. I mean, That's the one. I don't know if people know that. I'm sure. Obviously, you guys are in. Sorry, guys and girls and everything in between are in the industry in this way of you understand a lot of the industry, so you'll understand that. But a lot of people may not know that 5 actors of all genders can make one performance. One character can be made of female, male actors, and also voice work and combat and stunts can be done by somebody else. A specialist skill can be done by somebody else. Like you can have, and skinning as well on top of that. You can have a whole bunch of people making one character, and it's all performance. That's the thing. It's all valid performance together.
Yeah. We've got a great question from Elliot Edward, who asks if you ever had the chance to voice a character from an older game that hadn't been voiced, going back into your retro days, who would you voice?
You see, here's the funny thing about this. I don't really ever look back on other people's performances and go, oh, I wish I could do that. Like, I enjoy other people's takes on their characters because it's their take on their characters. Nicholai, for instance, is a reimagining of the original character. I didn't listen to the original character's voice and take. Sorry, the actor's take because I didn't want to. I don't want to see his take on that character because that was his take and that was absolutely right for the project that he did.
Oh,
so for project,
Neil, I'm sorry to interject. I think what Elliot is getting at, I think that he's talking about a character that wasn't voiced. Like we're talking about games where the characters were muted.
Oh, sorry, sorry, mate. Sorry, mucker. I didn't know that.
Did you ever have a character that you played that was was just subtitles?
Right.
Shit. That you want to voice?
I don't know, man. That stumped me because I've never thought about that. That is going to haunt me the entire night. I don't have an answer for that.
Putting you on the spot, we can come back to that, but that's an interesting.
As I quickly Google every game ever made from my childhood. Sure,
if you ever get the answer, tweet it out.
I might have to, man. That's going to stay. That's
an interesting point, though, that you didn't listen to the previous. You didn't listen to the previous performance. That's an interesting point, actually, because one of the things.
Thank you for helping me get out of this very deep hole. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Dig up, man. Dig up.
It's the way that I asked the question. It was my fault. But the thing that I enjoyed about your performance, of course, is that it wasn't some sort of generic, sort of Eastern European voice. There was real character and depth to the tone, and I thought it was fantastic.
I did work before I had to literally zoom over between a job to get the audition to do the audition for RE3. And I did some work on the Russian accent as I saw it, as his Russian accent I saw it, and then obviously it was developed even further afterwards. But my take was already based on. I started incredibly heavy with a voice coach, and said, okay, I'm going to go extremely crazy Russian, then we bring it back because I wanted to give the idea that Nicholai is so well traveled in all these dangerous hotspots, has had to do covert and overt missions, has been surrounded by so many different people from so many different teams of people because he's been a mercenary as well as he's ex-Spetsnaz, he's ex-Special Forces, he's a mercenary, he's probably maybe even Foreign Legion or something like that. He's been around so many different types of people that his accent is flavored with his experience. So it was still going to be based in a Russian accent and this kind of edge to it, but I really wanted to show his worldliness. So that's why that's how I found the accent anyway. And I'm very, very lucky that I had an amazing director called Steve Kniebly, whom he and I have collaborated a good few times now. And he's very cool and very supportive and an actor's director really, and he sort of understood where I was coming from with that, and he went with it. So I'm really grateful to him, and also the Capcom team, of course, who signed off and everything. So yeah, it was cool.
That's great.
Nice.
Artie, how are we fared for starting up and heading into Raccoon City?
Do we want to do a few more questions? Do we want to start the stream yet? How do we want to do?
Can I ask my one big question real quick?
Or we can carry on the questions as we do the stream, surely.
Yeah, sure. We could do that. Okay.
They're rubbing your tummy and patting your head. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I guess I'll start the stream. Presently, everybody stay tuned. I'm going to make some changes to the look of what we got here.
Good luck.
This is where everything starts to fall apart.
Yeah, exactly. Technical difficulties are always
Well,
yes, we would like you to do the entire thing with Russian accent, Mr.
You might start seeing some holes in my Russian accent.
Could you?
There you
It
go.
might have gone as well as it did on the performance stage. No,
You
I'm not
seem
doing
to
that.
have someone who has approved. Someone, Marina Grigorieva, 1988, said that your Russian accent is actually pretty good.
Oh, I thank you very much. I do appreciate that enormously. Thank you.
Not bad.
Not bad. Oh my goodness. I can only
Okay.
apologise on behalf of the Crimson Head Elder team.
It's so strange right now. I'm just sort of watching Nicholai and Chris Redfield having like a Russian off.
Crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay.
Interestingly enough, actually, there was a moment between Nicholai and Chris that I with Steve's blessing, I shoehorned in there. The delivery of this line was supposed to be really sarcastic and really like cutting, and instead I wanted to make it show that he actually like thought Chris was a good guy and respected him, and so we kind of made it quite heartfelt, and it's the closest like Nicholai gets to as being like nice to anybody. It was the "she'll get you killed" line was supposed to be like genuine, like he was genuinely say, do not go with her because she'll she's a liability and she'll kill you, by her actions. So it was something I don't know if anybody ever picked up on it, but I quite like the fact that we were allowed to play like that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Hello, big boy.
So I'm going to attempt to screen share with the Discord here so that we could get everybody watching what I'm doing live.
Oh, cool. Groovy.
So all you got to do is click on my screen. You should be able to hear it as well. Let me know if you could hear it.
Yeah.
I can hear it.
So we're all good.
So technological. I'm having a techno nerd moment.
Technology, science.
Embarrassing.
Thank you to Monique from Resident Evil Database, who's supporting the stream and getting everyone to share it. Thank you, Monique. And I've got to say, I don't know if anyone saw Monique from the Brazilian website Resident Evil Database. Did the most amazing Instagram interview with Nicole Tompkins. Just amazing the way, Monique, you can do that just live as well, and multilingual, translating back from the Portuguese and English. That fantastic job, Monique.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot to do. That is a lot to do. Okay, just want to make sure, chat. Everybody in the live chat, please let me know if the stream audio is balanced, because I want to make sure that the game is not too loud as we do this.
Oh yes, because we want to definitely be able to hear Neil both on and off the screen as well.
Okay, I'll take a back seat. He's pretty interesting, this guy.
It's amazing how they had to get you to stand still for so long for this shot here, Neil.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I begged them to. I begged them. I just want to stand here and do nothing. Is that okay? No, it's interesting that another thing that we don't, that you may not know, obviously, about performance capture is that actually quite a lot of stuff can be cannibalized from other things. So you can use a moment from something to go into something else.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that when you're talking about motion capture, you're capturing is a data set. There's nothing physical that you're capturing about performance. It's all digitized.
Yeah, I mean,
it can be shared with any model that you can apply that movement to.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk a little bit about the process if you want, if that's interesting.
Sure.
Absolutely. Please share with us.
Brighter future for all of us.
Hang on. Whoop, just muted myself. Who's got the sound on the thingy? It's quite loud. I can't quite hear myself.
That would be Sonny, because he's live streaming it on.
Sorry, dude. Thank you very much. Sorry. The way that it works is that you're basically kind of naked. You're basically in a lycra suit, and you're covered in your joints, specifically your major joints, and in between the smaller ones like wrists and things like that are covered in highly reflective capacitive markers, as in they're just highly reflective material on these round markers that are velcro to your body. That then creates a skeleton which is then the infrared cameras, at which they can be anything up to 120, if not more, can then constantly fire near-infrared light into the center of the volume at a fixed position that bounces off these highly reflective markers that then create the dots, that then create also, after doing things like ROMs, which are range of motion, and set up some things like that, then create your skeleton. And as you quite rightly said, then you can apply any skin to the skeleton. Sometimes you literally can switch a button and you can change from one person to the next. And it is a very pure way for actors to work, because it is solely about, in that sense, the actor's job, especially in mocap. It's so much about performance and movement and embodying the character with truthful movement. Because you can be anybody. And you can literally have to flip from, maybe I did like, I don't know, something crazy like 10 or 12 people in one day once. It was nuts. And all of them had to be completely distinct and move in different ways and have different givers. So, for actors, it's a really amazing experience to be in performance capture, because you will get to do what you ought not to do more than TV and film. You'll be cast, like you said, in roles that you would never get cast as, because the way you look. Interestingly enough, diversity, which is a wonderful issue that we should all support, and it's great that it's coming in so many different industries. The diversity thing in mocap and performance capture, especially even back then, was a huge thing, because you could literally, anybody could play anybody. It didn't matter your background. It didn't matter, this ridiculous idea of the pigmentation, the color of your skin, which to somehow be different from somebody else in a negative way. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it didn't matter. You could play anybody. You just had to be able to move right. So I'm a huge supporter of equality across all the genders and all ethnic groups. And I have this idea that I think we should stop using the term race, for instance. It doesn't exist. There's one race. It's human. Racism exists, absolutely. And people are horrible to each other. Human beings be horrible to each other, sometimes purely based on the pigmentation of their skin, which is insane to me, as well as gender issues and things. So motion capture and performance capture is wonderful, because anybody can play anything, as long as you can move right, as long as you're good. It doesn't matter, which is really cool. And I'm a huge champion of that aspect of this side of the world, because it's like, yeah, you can just do it. I'm really ruining the game by talking about
you're not ruining the game.
Ruining this game by talking about my beliefs and trying to get people to agree with me.
No, you're good. You're just.
But I like the fact also that female actors now are more prevalent in performance capture. There's more female characters in games. I think it's amazing, and also you're represented by a bigger diversity mix on screen as well. So all this stuff is wonderful to be a part of, and seeing games moving in this wonderful, great, positive direction. It's very cool.
And given the influence that games have on society.
Yeah, man. Generation.
Society. Yeah. If we continue, if the industry continues to be more diverse, then that hopefully will be reflected in society as a whole.
Absolutely, and I think that's the thing. It's like, we want to normalize these things. It shouldn't be like, oh, this is an example of a strong thing because we don't have many strong things. Like, no, it's just normal. It's like, they are this character by rote. They happen to be this, and this as well. It should be normal, and then hopefully with positivity and all this kind of stuff, and we should be able to get there at some point where people will talk about, do you remember when games only had these types of characters, or female roles were only this in a game? Hopefully at that point it'll be like, when was that? The dark ages of gaming? You crazy old bastards, what are you doing? Like, really? Hopefully.
Hey,
here comes Neil's entrance.
My first job as a voice actor was the left paddle in Pong.
The panel in Pong. I think you did a marvelous job. I remember thinking,
thank you very much.
That song. It's extraordinary. Wow.
I don't even know who played the right paddle. I never met the person.
Okay, there appears to be some there's some lag going on here, so I'm gonna just change the video settings really quick.
Sure thing.
Probably using a lot of graphical memory.
For me to ask, because Neil, I think you mentioned the animal performance, and was that something that you mentioned that you'd done before in terms of the motion? And I think that might refer to a film.
The what performance?
You made the animal performance, the animal motion.
Creature work.
Oh, the creature
Oh,
work.
the creature work. Yes, the creature work, of course. Yeah. No, I was curious by that, and whether that kind of came into play when you were doing the motion capture for Nemesis.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I worked with Steve Kniebley on Planet of the Apes before, which was with Andy Serkis as well, and that was just, for an actor, that was an incredible gig. That was amazing. I got to play. I specialize in multi-role characters, so I tend to play 2 or 3 characters, sometimes a lot more, in one project, which I'm incredibly blessed and I feel very, very grateful for that people take the time to do that. So I got to play with both the human side and also the ape tribe, and we formed an ape tribe. There was, I think it was 6 of us in the ape tribe, and actually we were taught by Peter Elliott, who is the godfather of animal work in TV and film and now games, I would say. You know, he and Andy are legends, you know, for their animal work.
Wow.
And we had this tribe, a very tight tribe of people playing apes, and we're still friends. We still have a WhatsApp group that we still send things to randomly. But I was incredibly lucky to be working with these wonderful actors. And because Steve, you know, he and I did that, and we also did an Apes VR game, which was great to shoot. I don't know how it played, but it was really fun to shoot it. He knew obviously that I can do creatures, and I think the trust thing is huge for actors and directors and developers as well.
Of course.
To take the risk, or even if it's a comfortable risk, to take that on somebody, you know, you have to, as an actor, therefore step up. And I always leave my blood on the floor, sometimes literally, of every job that I do, because, you know, to somebody say, I really want to play this, especially the Nemesis role, which for me wasn't decided until that was like, you want me to do what? I was like, really? Okay.
That does bring up one of the questions on my list.
Right.
Who were you casted for? Was it Nicholai or Nemesis, or was it for
I was
both?
cast as Nicholai. Yeah, I was cast as Nicholai first. And Nemesis was a gift. It was a huge hulking 9-foot gift, which was great. And a lot of the animal work came into play with that, actually, weirdly, even though he's bipedal. And it really helped having a background in that to get a sense of rhythm and heartbeat and movement and all kind of stuff. So,
when you were doing the mocap for Nemesis, did you have a lot of fun?
Oh my god, too much fun. So much fun. I posted something recently on Instagram about one of the ROMs we have to do in the mornings, and that was kind of the spirit of the game. We didn't, I mean, I've gone on record saying this a few times, and I mean it. This is not one of those like nice buzzy things that people say in this kind of bullshit, like we hated each other. We did not have a bad day on set. And we had a challenging days, it was physically exhausting, but we had so much fun on that shoot. And the people I played with, Nicole Tompkins, the incredible Nicole Tompkins who plays Jill, who really brought that role, man, in such a way. I'm so proud of my sister for doing that. And she's so good. She's so good. Such a nice person as well. She's fucking hysterical as well. Jeff Shine, who she's fucking hysterical. And Jeff Shine, who says these lines that no human being on the planet should be able to say. And get away with, like, living in a cruel, Carlosless world. During filming of that scene, I looked at him and went, "What the fuck, man? Like, how the fuck did he get away with that?" He's amazing. He's also, you know, he's like a brother, man. He and I saw each other not so long ago, actually. Bill Hope, who is just delicious. I'm going on record and saying he's a delicious actor to work with. He's so good.
We had a question about, I think from Bloody Eye Jerry from Missouri wanted to ask how you felt about the fact that you had to kill both of Bill Hope's characters.
Really grateful. Grateful that I get to do that twice. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I killed both of them. Yeah, twice. Bill and I have got over both of those moments. Don't kill your friends. This is a fictional truth. That's why I can say that. But don't do it in real life. But no, Bill is still a friend of mine. I literally spoke to him a few weeks ago. He's a wonderful actor to play with. I like killing my friends virtually in fictional circumstances. Todd Haberthorne is also a friend, and I got to shoot him via Jeff, who was mocapping Todd's character on the day, in the head. So that was like a twofer. That was great. It was like 2-for-1. Nice. But yeah, so
what would your therapist say?
I don't have one. They won't have me. They won't take me.
I think doing voiceover is the therapist. You know, you really get to work out all those problems on stage.
And I have a training academy now. I have a small production company and a training academy. And one thing we do tell actors coming in is that acting is not therapy, but it is therapeutic, and it can make you feel incredibly alive and really positive. about
Very true.
existing, man. But it isn't therapy. You have to go to a therapist if you need it. Everybody should go to a therapist at some point in their lives. It's a positive thing. But yeah, so yeah, acting is a wonderful experience, especially when you have those perfect moments, and especially when you're working as a collaboration with perfect people. And Jeff, Bill, Darren, Nicole, working with Steve and Miguel Corti from Capcom, all the Capcom team, they're all fantastic to work with. And also Tajiri Yokiro, who is the head of Digital Frontier, where we shot. And the crew there were incredible. They were really young kids. They're like a super young crew, and they were so hardworking and so happy. And they let us play a lot, and they joined in, and we all had fun. It was a great shoot, man. It really was. And I really hope it worked. It's difficult because it's a horror game, but like, it's difficult to show the joy that we had making this horrible dark experience. But it's true, man. Yeah.
Just watching the very grumpy Dario stand there. So,
I think I finally got the lag situation under control. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think we're doing fine with that.
There's a lot of power. There's a lot of power going on here. So I got the game running. I got the broadcaster, and I got Discord. Yeah, it's taking up a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Did you remember to put UP in the meter, RT? That could be the problem.
Yeah, I probably didn't put another quarter in the meter yet. Should go do that.
I think that was me as one of those zombies. Pretty sure.
Oh yeah, one of these zombies right here.
Pretty sure I tried to eat Nicole quite a few times.
Yeah. You tried to kill her so many times you can't keep track.
She's so much fun to play with, man. And she brings it as well. She's not only is she a very talented actor, she's also highly creative. In fact, I really like the fact that, again, Steve Kniebly is this incredible, supportive and brilliantly talented director, that he really went with some of her suggestions about her take on Jill. Like, you know, we all stopped, and there's a moment where Carlos, Jeff's character, is explaining to her how a radio works. Now, this is in the 90s. The game's set in the 90s. And she just went, this is ridiculous. Am I just okay with the fact he just mansplained the radio to me? And all of us were like, huh. I was like, yeah, that's a good point. So she went, well, you know, so her line, of course, which is, I know what a radio is, was, I think that was hers. That was her line that she came up with.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that.
We spoke to her about that moment.
Yeah.
She said,
That's cool.
so brilliant, so brilliant.
Yeah.
She's such a good actor, man. Wow. And I've had the pleasure of working with her multiple times now, and it's that thing of like, it's like a family. You know, when you have chemistry with certain actors and directors as well, and development teams and stuff, you want to keep working with them because it brings out the best in you. You know?
It really does.
Absolutely.
It's that trust. It's the trust that you develop in those other actors. You know they're going to be there for you. I did improv for 30 years, and it's, you know, when you do something like that with a small tight team and you do it for years, and you know that everybody's got your back and that you've got everybody's back. There's nothing like that feeling. Nothing like it.
Even when they try to run you over with a car.
I really enjoyed the sequence. This was really fun. I got to throw myself through a car so many times.
Yeah, you got to have that trust. You know, even when they try to run you over with a car.
Yeah, right. And yeah, it was just again, there was just so many fun things to do. Like breaking the guy's neck. I mean, I shouldn't say this. This is terrible. But breaking the guy's neck on the train and throwing him like a chicken wing, you know, stuff like that. It was really fun.
It's interesting you say that. We've got a question, Neil, from, excuse me the pronunciation, Marina Grigorieva, I think that is, Marina Grigorieva, 1988. Thank you, Joe. She asked, what was your favourite Nicholai moment, or maybe your favourite line from the remake?
I get asked this quite a lot. It's kind of difficult, really, because I had so many fun experiences playing him and also the days around. And I really like his entrance. I think his entrance sums him up quite well.
Oh God, yeah, badass.
Yeah, and I guess specifically, where is your sense of self-preservation? That line particularly, like for me when I read the script originally, because I didn't listen to the original version. That unlocked the character for me. That was like, okay, I get it. I get who he is, what his motivations are, how he sees the world, and most importantly, how he sees himself and other people, and how he relates to that. So I think it was like, okay, cool, that's great. That gives me a way in to the character, and everything sort of flowed from there, really. Because obviously, I don't play villains, you know? I love my characters, and I really want them to succeed, even when they're not supposed to. Because it's like, I think if you start playing villain, trying to be. You can't.
Yeah.
You end up. It's like playing drunk, right? You have to kind of play not drunk. I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
Drunk acting is the worst, man. It's like
Well,
Jesus.
every villain, as a writer, you don't write villains who, every villain thinks they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, even if they know, even if they're immoral as opposed to amoral, it's that thing of like, it's what their life is. It's the truth of their life. It's a fictional truth that you as the actor can't judge. You just play it. And it's for the audience to have a reaction to it and make a call on it. I mean, the best compliments I usually get is, "I really fucking hated your character." I was like, "Dude, thank you so much." That makes me. I sleep well at night knowing that I've upset or terrified people through my acting. That's great. Thank you. I will. Thank you. I'm gonna put that on.
You did the right thing.
So I appreciate it. I really enjoy playing villains as well because they usually have so much more license. I mean, listen. Jill Valentine is an awesome character to play. If you want to play a hero, you want to play something like Jill Valentine. Nicole did a great job. But it's all on her. It's like, dude, I can play around. I just want to play. It's like,
and villains are the most fun to play. Because you get to inhabit a skin that hopefully you wouldn't want to inhabit as a real human being.
Sure.
But you get to explore that world and you get to explore those emotions.
Yeah.
What a gift! What a gift!
What a gift! What a gift! And also, that's the thing about the games industry. I am incredibly grateful for all the work that I get, and I never assume anything. I could be out of work tomorrow. Who knows? I'm just really happy that for whatever reason, people like the work I've been putting out, they enjoy it, they have a good time. We play doctors. Actors play doctors. We play heroes. We're not heroes. We're just performing. We're entertaining, and that's the thing. I think I've got friends of mine who've been at the NHS Nightingale, and they're heroes. they're putting themselves in
real
harm's
heroes.
way.
That's
and
entirely true.
And they're not getting paid well for it. But they're doing it. And actually, part of them, they didn't have to do it. They volunteered to go back to the job they used to do years ago because they felt compelled they had to help. And it's like, wow, I'm not doing that. I've got a family and I've got other work to do. I'm not doing that. I could volunteer, and I'm not doing that. So it's like, wow, okay, they are real life heroes.
I hear you loud and clear, but there's another side to that. Think about what people have turned to in this time of pandemic and being quarantined. What have people turned to for comfort and for some kind of a release from the quarantine? They've turned to entertainment. They've turned to video games. So don't ever think that what you're doing is not giving back. I mean, I think of entertainment as being a part of the lifeblood of humanity. It's so necessary. It's absolutely. You say that as an actor, you're not being a hero. You're not saving lives. You're not on the front lines at the NHS. But what we do provide is absolutely essential. It's a kind of medicine. Entertainment is a kind of.
I think stories definitely. I think stories can definitely uplift people and definitely, especially I would say communities actually that have born from the games are also incredibly valid. Like this, I mean, I knew of RE, I knew of the community, but I wasn't a part of the community, and to see how big it is and how vocal and how together it is now as well, especially, is amazing to me. It's always a constant source of wow. There's so many people that are now linked and know each other through their love of this thing and this universe. And it's that does a huge amount, and I'm really gratified to be a small part of a bigger community that actually does look out for people and sort of does talk to each other. I'm very lucky. I was in Detroit Become Human, and they have an amazing community too. And it's like their community also has that same attitude. People become friends through it, and they even find lovers through it, or they find people they can talk to when they're feeling down, or they have a commonality and. Everybody's human. The bottom line is this whole brings me back to this point of I don't believe in this idea of multiple races. There's one race. It's human. We have we come from different nations. We have different cultures, but honestly, it's one race. It's human beings, man. It's like we stop this idea of different. It's like we're different because of our interests and maybe our cultural rituals of how we eat certain foods or what music we listen to or the history of it, but we're all human. And I think that's the thing, when we find these commonalities like a global pandemic, and sometimes the appalling responses that certain governments have had to it, and suddenly you feel very alone and very worried. It's like suddenly you can reach out to people.
Bring you back together and realize that there is a community.
Yeah, there is always a community. Yeah.
We've got some more questions for you, Neil, from the live chat, if that's okay. Some questions from Purely K. Gelberg, and they ask...
I think I know who that is.
Well, I was feeling quite bad because they were very kindly posting quite a few questions, and I was trying to keep up with them. So some of their questions were... across all the video games that you've worked on, what would you say was your favourite? And if you do, perhaps that you do experience, how do you overcome performance anxiety?
Right. Well, firstly, there isn't a single game or single role, I should say, actually, that has been like my most favourite. I'm very lucky. I've had the most incredible experiences on quite a lot of projects. And some that are incredibly close and dear to me, that will always be dear to me, and others that were just great fun. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't go on record and saying I have a favourite. I've been very lucky. I've got some amazing characters, and there are some characters that you haven't seen yet are coming out that was so much fun to play. That when they come out, I'm going to be standing by them as well. Performance anxiety thing. So here, it's an interesting thing about actors and any performer. Sorry, not just actors, any entertainer. There are several voices in this. One of them is the voice of excitement, of wanting to perform, wanting to be a part of the story, being focused and energized, good nerves, and the curtain raises, and you're on, and you're with everybody, and da-da-da. Then there's another voice which says you're not good enough, and you shouldn't be here, and you somehow managed to get this job and you don't deserve it. And that voice is a pain in the ass because that voice doesn't actually matter. It doesn't have any power. It is not the point of what you're doing. So performance anxiety, I think a lot of the time is this need to be good, or the fear of failing, or the fear of needing people to tell you that was a good job or something like that. Because ultimately, if you get an audition, they know you're good enough to do it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be auditioning. It's the same thing, performance anxiety. If you get the gig and then you get on stage and then you freak out because you're not too sure what you're doing, you're worrying about the end product. And actually, all you need to do is just focus on who am I right now? Who is the person? How do they relate to other people? What's their needs, wants, and objectives? Do the groundwork, which is what rehearsals and pre-shoot work is for. And then when you get to actually live that moment, all that work is done. It just blows away and it swarms around you in the one like acting butterflies, right? And it comes into you and comes out, and inspiration hits you and comes out. But really, you're in the moment. And there is no definitive end result. You're just in it. You don't need to worry if you're good or not because you're doing it. We don't worry if whether or not we can open a door well. We just open the door. Right. So as long as your groundwork is done first, that's the most important thing. Groundwork, training, craft work, all that jazz, all the exploration of the character is done way before you perform it. So when you come to the performance, no matter what happens on set, and even happy accidents are born from catastrophes going hideously wrong, or a moment that just comes out of nowhere, seemingly. That's how I think you should approach it.
Hopefully that moment is captured on film.
Yeah, it's
whatever. Hopefully you get that.
Yeah, I don't watch the monitor back when filming TV. I try to always avoid that. I don't want to see what I look like doing that stuff because I think it can lead you into starting to worry about that. What do I look like? So who cares? It doesn't matter. That's for the cinematographer or DOP and the director to worry about. Same thing in games. Movement you have to watch a lot back. You have to watch back a lot more. And I have to say I got used to watching my animated selves back because they look cooler doing it than I do. They're just cooler people, like my avatars. So it's like I said this to somebody else. It's like holding the Fonz's jacket, but not being the Fonz. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm the dude that Fonz always used to throw his jacket to, going, "Yeah, get him, Fonz." It's like I'm not the Fonz. I get to hold his jacket, right? And then he takes it back again. So it's like performance anxiety is nothing to do with performance. It is to do with an inbuilt need that all humans sometimes have, sadly, to be to be good, to be accepted, to be validated. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter. It has no business in the volume, because all it will do is just bring you down, and destroy any good work that you could potentially do in the moment. So I think that
very much like to have the last minute and a half or so of this conversation tattooed on my forehead.
Oh my god, let me come up with a better way of saying it. Oh god, think.
Or it's going to be less painful, but what you're preaching, man. I thought you were first right now.
So here's Neil right here.
But this is the thing I have got to say to caveat that, and actors that work with me know this is true. Regardless of what I just said, I still, at the end of every first day of a shoot of every project I ever do, assume I'm going to get fired.
And what are you?
I assume,
I'm killing your own people?
Oh yeah, so I have to.
He would have turned. There's your sense of self.
Well, there you are.
I know, right?
Go back to the
God, I'm disturbing you.
You're very attractive for an older man.
Dude, it's not even my face, man. It's another actor who got skinned. He's the. I mean, I have resting psycho face in real life. That is true. That's why I smile a lot and laugh a lot.
Resting psycho face.
But this guy has got amazing resting psycho face. He's a gorgeous villain. Yeah,
really is a good run.
But just to caveat, sorry, not caveat, just to round up what I was saying is that, you know, no matter what your level, you're still going to get anxiety of some form. The quest and the trick and the aim should always be taking that anxiety and controlling it and embodying it and owning it in a way that you can then use it positively. So I'm incredibly bouncy on set, and I don't know if Nicole said that or not, but I'm ridiculous. I have so much energy on set. That's born from a place of not wanting to be anxious, but wanting to have no fear and wanting to just try everything and just do it, and to hell with it. I spent years training, like 10 years, maybe more. Wonderful Giles Foreman. I started in National Youth Theatre with Ed Wilson, who sadly passed, who was an incredible inspiration in my life, as is Giles Foreman as well. And I crashed and burned I did 4 years of method first, and I crashed and burned in every single one of the scene classes. I mean, crashed and burned every scene. I made, oh my god, it was glorious. The fuck-ups were plenty, and the fountain was ever-flowing. For me, causing catastrophe in a scene. It was monstrous, you know, it was just so good. Because it was so utterly wrong most of the time, that I learned that it doesn't matter. It's like, take the risky thing. Just do it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and you'll find out, and you'll have people support you. But do it. If you don't do it, you know, it's that old thing, isn't it? Like, actors sometimes complain about, I lost this job. It's like, well, were you on it? Did they fire you? No, it was an audition. Oh, so you didn't lose it, you never had it to begin with. So in the audition, you were nervous. Yeah, I was really nervous, I didn't want to fuck up the lines. Like, who cares? The lines will probably change on the day, by the way. But, you know, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. It's like, there's a great book by Declan Donnellan, which is called The Actor and the Target, which is very similar to a non-acting book called Zen in the Art of Archery. Any young actor should read those two books. Or not even young actor, any actor that's got nerves, read those two books.
What was the first one? I want to write that down.
Declan Donnellan, I'm mispronouncing his surname, I think, which is called The Actor and the Target. And the second book is by a German writer in the 50s called Zen in the Art of Archery. I read those two books.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that one. But,
man, that's not about acting, but you can use it for anything. It's brilliant.
This question kind of sort of tacks onto that, Neil. Miss Eileen Valentine, great name. She asks,
yeah, man.
What's your advice for people who want to start a career in voice acting?
Well, I think the first thing, I'm not going to tell you about the technicalities, because that's easy online. You can find a tube for that. First thing is get to know about acting. Start with a craft, like anything. It's a performance. I would really urge anybody that goes into any kind of performance to explore the craft of it. And that doesn't mean if you can't afford to go to drama school, or it's difficult to go to drama lessons, what have you, there are always ways and means. There are always things you can do. I mean, you can even get like free PDFs of all of the acting books ever written on the internet. I'm not saying you should do that, because probably most of them are pirated, but what I'm saying is there are resources theoretically that I can't possibly tell you to do these things, right? So I think the main thing is explore. It's a craft, and I am a little old school in that sense, that I believe I used to constantly train. Even though I was working, I was constantly doing training, I think I probably spent 10 years in training over the course of what isn't now, a 20-year career, which I'm amazed to say that out loud, 20 years. In film, TV, theatre, and games. And, I still learn. The thing is, you never stop learning, right?
Never.
So if you want to become a voice artist, work on your instrument and your craft first. And all the technical stuff you can find out.
Absolutely. It goes exactly what you're saying about being ready. That's the time that you spend developing yourself as an instrument.
Yeah.
I hate to say it like that. It sounds so corny. But
No, it's not corny. I say instrument all the time. I think you play yourself like an instrument. And guitarists and dancers, they practice every day. An actor should too. It staggers me sometimes. We have a training course. I did a couple of workshops in LA with Minds I Tried, who are a great company for performance capture. And I did some lessons with them, and the kids were great, and they were really up for it and really positive. But I did ask a question. I was like, how many of you have a vocal warm-up that you do regularly?
Yeah.
2 people put their hands up. I was like, okay. How many of you do it every week? Nobody put their hands up. I was like, well, okay, so here's the thing. You all look great. Your bodies are smashing. I feel a little overweight right now, even though I'm not overweight. I'm really in shape, but you guys are like killing it. It was that, guys, girls, and everything in between are killing it. It's just that thing of like, so what about your voice? It's a total instrument. It's a total craft. And not every tool is right, but you should know all the tools. You really should.
Right. And
So
so
that's
many
my advice.
people, especially these days, when you can spend, $200, you can have a setup at home where you can produce your own voiceover.
Yeah.
People get into it for the wrong reasons, and they don't realize that there's so much work, so much background work, not as in background work, but there's so much work that goes on before any of the performance ever happens.
Yeah, for sure.
You spend, as a performer, speaking just for myself, I started acting in junior high school back in the
Right.
70s. That has been with me every day of my life. Once I
Yeah,
decided
sure.
that I wanted to be an actor, that is just a part of my DNA. It's something that I
Yeah.
do all the time.
There's some great examples of actors coming through now in performance capture that have trained and have busted their asses to get where they're at, and now are starting to really pick up a lot of work from it. A friend of mine who's also kind of my protege, I guess, a guy called Ace Ruel, who is the best creature performer, I would say, in the UK right now, and he's extraordinary. And he's working on Marvel stuff and doing big games. He and I worked together quite a few times, and he's an amazing person because of his life story as well. There's incredible voice talent. Amelia Tyler is an amazing voice artist. Jay Britton as well. And Jay didn't come from an acting background. He was actually an ex-copper who decided to check it in and become and he's extraordinary. Both of them are. They've been in so many amazing games and so many wonderful roles. And there's so many people. There's people that I work with that are part of my Performance Captured Academy crew. Lucas Lee White is just coming through doing these incredible work. He comes from a combat background. There's some really interesting kids who are working hard on whichever craft they want to specialize in, but they work hard, and it's thankless. And I think that's the thing that every generation suffers from sometimes, is the quick fix. I just turn up, I get an Instagram thing, and I can be famous. Like, cool, you can, but you ain't going to get the good work, and you may not survive that long, and blah, 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 blah. So, it's a long game. It's a marathon. It ain't a sprint.
That's right. If you want to be in flash in the pan, you can. But
Yeah, I spent 20 years in this thing, 20 years of acting, 10 years in performance capture, and it's this point now where I'm, really starting to... I'm really flying, I guess, without sounding like an idiot, without sounding like a dickhead. I'm getting some amazing roles, and it's 20 years of work,
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Paul.
No, I wanted to ask. It's a question I always like to ask, because one thing that really drew me into this series, Resident Evil, was the depth of character development that so many of these characters have, and even some that are only on screen for a few seconds sometimes.
Sure.
You'd be surprised to know the lengths we go to kind of translate all the extra media we get from Japan, in Japanese, that gives all the extra information on the characters. Were you given any biography at all in relation to Nicholai, even maybe shown any concept art or any background information that in relation to his his appearance in the previous game at all?
The only thing I saw from the previous game was I wanted to remind myself what the character looked like because I knew I wasn't getting it scanned for it, so I thought that was safe. When I got there, we were given. Oh, in fact, at the audition stage, I'm pretty sure. It was funny. They said we can't tell you what it is. I was like, well, it's clearly this. It's like, it's obviously this game. Yes, we can't tell you that. Okay. So anyway, so I knew about the character in a general way, and they did. And Capcom were great about giving us all kinds of information that we need for the character. We did see quite a lot of concept art, which I would say to any actor when you land a performance capture gig or a mocap gig, even more. Is to make sure you get artwork, make sure you see the concepts that they're running with, and talk to them, talk to the developers, because they are the most passionate people in their game, and they want it to be like, extraordinary and all that kind of stuff, which is absolutely as they should do, and they will be able to give you so much information. So yeah, we were lucky. We got a lot of character breakdowns, biogs, a little bit of history. Obviously there's some history that I make up in my head to make it work for me, and nobody ever knows that and sees that because it's ridiculous and pointless and terrible writing.
Fan fiction, your own fan fiction on this.
Oh man, I destroyed some fan fiction in Detroit Become Human. I didn't know one of my characters, Gavin Reed. I didn't know that because I wasn't, I don't spend a lot of time looking through all that stuff, I guess. Was that I didn't know that all the fans had made him a cat lover. And then somebody asked me in an interview, like, because I filled out all these questions for him. Like, I do a questionnaire for my characters and stuff, right? So I know a lot about them even nobody will know that, but it's my choices. They said, so is he a cat or dog lover? I'll tell dog lover. And like, I went, no! There's all this fans like, and then somebody told me, and I was like, oh my god, I am so sorry. I just should have lied. I went, yeah, tell the cats, yeah, it could be a cat lover. But he wasn't, because I based him on like a bulldog. I based him on kind of like a bulldog type character. I use animal work in a lot of my characters. So especially if I really want to break my habits, I'll go run to animal work. Again, craft work, man. So animal work is super useful for breaking your own rhythms and habits, especially if you don't go to the animals you like the most and all that stuff. So yeah, I said dogs and destroyed so many people's dreams. I'm so sorry. I still apologize for that, actually.
I just want to hear you say that Nicholai was a cat lover.
I don't know. I just swallowed some water on that. I'm so sorry. Oh my god.
He's more of a wolf lover.
Yeah, I kind of think wolf, but I really want to fuck with people and say terrapin, but I'm not going to. I would say, yeah, I think a wolf. I think actually specifically a Romanian crossbreed dog wolf is where he's at.
Ferret that he hangs out.
Or ferret, yeah, ferret's a good one. I didn't actually. Funny enough, I didn't use animal. I don't think I used animal for Nicholai. Actually, funny now we talk about it. Yeah, I didn't use an animal for him. I used one for Nemesis for sure. But I didn't use one for Nicholai's, so I didn't explore that. But I think, yeah, ferret's probably where it's at, like a ravenous, like a Wolverine or something.
Some kind of weasel character, yeah.
Weasel, ferret, Wolverine. Have fun with that, fanfiction. I'm so sorry.
And I'm sure that must have been just a kind of a huge kind of skill set to play on, the creature work that you've done in terms of that motion for Nemesis, because it is. I mean, I don't know if I'm going down the right road here, but it is kind of very animalistic, and obviously he's based on human, but
yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm very lucky. I'm very social, I like to think, and I meet a lot of people and sometimes steal habits and things from people. But with a creature like Nemesis, especially because it was so dear to Capcom's heart, and they had a very direct input in it, which was actually very good, because we really wanted to try and get it right. And we didn't want to make it like over-the-top, theatrical, hammy stuff. We wanted to make it truly realistic, and like, what if you could actually create a creature like this? How would it actually move, and what would its motivations be like? And would it have cognitive reasoning in the same way that a quickfire that a person would? Probably not. So let's make it animalistic, and what kind of animal would that be, and how would it move? And if it's very locked down and very upright, is there a way of still having this animal movement when it moves? So when it attacks, I had a very specific animal and some other things that I used as well. that were informing me on how he should move, or how it should move. Right? Yeah, it has a gender. How it should move when it attacks, and when it tries to grapple, and when it misses, and when it reacts to the pain and all that kind of stuff. It was quite specific. So yeah, I hope it worked, because I hope people enjoyed our take on Nemesis, because we really did work very hard.
Well, I wanted to ask you, Neil, if you don't mind me asking, like, what is your height and build? Because you played this guy as if he's like an 8-foot, freaking, 300-pound, 500-pound monstrosity. I really think that translates on screen really well.
I'm 188, 89, and 6'2", I guess, is the equivalent of that. So I'm 6'2". I'm only well, I'm not going to tell you my weight, because an actor never tells.
Question.
I'm 6'2", but I know I played a lot of characters of it's called size changes, and this is my mocap background. The great thing about doing so much mocap for so many years is that we got to play ridiculous. I played small halfling type characters or goblin characters. I played huge, like 200. What was it? A 20-foot tall frost monster for the Smite Hellenbach trailer. I also played Loki, who's like 5.5 feet or something like that. So size changes for us were, for those of us that have done it, are actually real second nature for creature work. But I'm 6'2". I've been very good about trying to keep my training, which I train very hard, in a place where I can keep the most useful type of body. So it's neither one thing or the other, but I have size, but I can also have malleability and flexibility that I can go very small if I need to. For instance, my ape Bryn in Planet of the Apes Last Frontier was only I think they're only like 5 foot tall or something like that, and they go quadruped as well as biped. So I really enjoy the challenge of how do I create a 9-foot monster weighing this amount of weight when I'm actually only And what does that do in terms of movement? I was also very lucky that I have arm extensions. I have my own arm extensions, and I brought them to Japan. So there's a couple of sequences where he mutates that was actually still a lot of my movement in it, which was really wild and trippy that we could actually go as far as that. Because obviously, the amazing artists and animators do a fantastic job of all this stuff, and they take our performances and sometimes augment them wildly. So there's a lot of stuff I can't do for Nemesis.
Gotcha.
No limitations at all. Because Golden Heart 180 was asking, Neil, are there any height requirements for mocap?
Nope. There are not height requirements. There are sometimes specific heights that are needed for certain rigs. Sometimes you are getting more and more castings that are being quite specific. That isn't a prerequisite. That is because they just want to make their lives a bit easier. So they'll look for people that are already 200 pounds of solid muscle, or they'll look for people that are over 6'4". However, I can say this categorically. We did work when there was only like 10 or 12 of us in the country, but like 10 years ago, there wasn't that many of us doing it. And there was very few female actors, and majority were male actors, actually, which thankfully has changed. I'm so proud of the industry for doing that, for having more female characters and therefore more female actors involved, because it makes such a difference. And it's right as well. But back in the day, there was most of us were around 6 foot, and most of us were, come from gymnastic or military or stunt or backgrounds of those natures, as well as some of us being actors on top. So it was like we had to learn how to play those roles. So height restrictions have come in now because people can, because there's more people trying to get into performance capture. Therefore, developers have the luxury of going, well, we'd like people who are this height because it actually makes our life a lot easier, which is completely fair enough. But I know a fantastic actor called Luisa Guerrero, who is a specialist. She is, I'm going to say this as delicately as I can. She's quite short, and she specializes in these amazing roles. She's a brilliant actor, and I've worked with her quite a few times. She was young Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn, and she's a phenomenal actor. I love working with her. And she is short, man. She is not at all female actor, and she therefore focuses on a mixture of roles, on adult roles, but also on the niche roles of the younger kids or teenagers or smaller creatures and that kind of stuff. And she's brilliant as well. And she's very highly trained, tumbling and acting as well.
That's good to know, because I mean, Golden Heart 180. I'm not making any presumptions, but maybe is height restricted because she's put no height requirements, yes, in capital letters. And I'd like to going on from what you just said, Neil. It's a fantastic answer. Thank you. Golden Heart 180. You might like to also check out Paula Rhodes, who was the actor to play Evelyn in Resident Evil 7, who's a child character in that game, as we know. I mean, eventually progresses to a very old lady. But no, check out Paula Rhodes on Twitter, because she takes on, like you were saying, Neil, roles that may be quite well suited to someone of her height.
Sure. And definitely check out Luisa Guerrero. I can't pronounce my tongue is all over the place at the moment. It's Luisa Guerrero Mini Mocap. It's GUERREIRO Mini Mocap on Instagram. That'll give you links to all her stuff as well. She's another very talented and reasonably short actor who is phenomenal. So no, it's not too short. However, there are some roles that will be restrictive to certain heights. That is a fact now. But so height requirements, no, but it will push you into a niche, or it will prevent you from certain types of roles. Especially, it's more also about body type. So that's why I always try and keep a middle kind of useful body, not get too big, not get too small, be very flexible, be strong, so I can climb and do stunts and that kind of stuff. So I try and keep it very zen in that way. That's a useful body as opposed to aiming for something that's, quote unquote, beach body or whatever the term is. I am such a geek, man. I have no idea.
I don't mean to interrupt. Joe, I think you said that you had to run.
I do. I have to run, and I wanted to say how brilliant it is to meet you, Neil.
Oh, dude,
just
so much.
Like the most amazing guy. I would love to train with you. If you ever do a thing in Los Angeles, drop me a line.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be coming out to LA again for sure, so I'll post it up. So I'll send links to my all my academy and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we'll definitely be out at some point. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please continue to play. I just need to duck out. So everyone keep doing what you're doing, and this has been fantastic. Thank you so much, Neil.
No, pleasure. Thank you very much for talking to me.
Thanks for joining us, Joe.
All right, take care, Joe.
Joe, take care. Thank you so much.
See you, Joe.
Okay, ciao.
Oh, that was great. Fantastic. We're very lucky to have Joe on our team, Neil. And also the listeners are as well, because they had to put up with my voice as the host of the podcast for the last 24, but now Joe's now the new host.
Excuse me.
Am I able to ask my questions now?
Please ask your question. I have to point out I'm garrulous by nature. I talk a lot.
I'm a very patient person, so I just wait till the stuff's over. It's like, okay, is it my turn?
It's almost like we don't have to ask
saying to Aaron, you've got to interrupt us, because me and Artie, we're guilty of talking far too much on
I've taken kind of a back step on that.
And Aaron's just far too polite. We always say, Aaron, you've got to just tell us to shut up. No, over to you, Aaron.
I'm the person that doesn't like to interrupt people, because if I interrupt, it loses everybody's train of thought.
No worries. I think it's good to have everybody's input.
Anyway, Lunar had another question for you. He wanted to know, did you use any past performances for your character Nicholai for reference when you were portraying him?
No. Like I said, I try to start from scratch with each character. I think it's very dangerous. Oh, listen, the bottom line is the instrument is always going to be the same. It's always my instrument. My job as an actor is to try and do what I ought not to do, and also try and break any habits that are easy to fall into when playing certain roles, especially if you've done types of roles before. The quest and the aim of the actor, I think, this is my point of view, obviously not speaking for every actor on the planet, is that you should start from scratch, create it in the way that you feel it, and try to make it as truthful and honest to the character's story, not your idea of what would be cool, I guess. I mean, you get to do cool things because something works and you worked hard to get there, and you have happy accidents. But you should always try and stick to what is the character and what's the character about. If you have a good director, they will also guide you with that. Because sometimes I have crazy wild ideas that the director just goes, show me, no. And it's like, which is great. I want that. I want a director to go, show me, absolutely not, there's no way of doing that. And it's like, because I play it a lot and I really like to play with my characters a lot, and I like improvising, I like finding organic moments, as all actors do, and this is nothing special that I'm talking about. But I think it's dangerous to try and... Sometimes, I guess, if you work on a character, say like an audition or something, and you want to cannibalize it into something else, because you found something very interesting in that type of character and they're similar, yeah, that's fine. But I think if you have a finished if you do a finished production of anything, including just, even like something small, like even like a small off-Broadway theatre gig or something like that, I think you should always try and honor those characters and find something different, and really stretch, because the more you stretch and the more you exercise your instrument, the stronger you'll get, the more inspiration you get, the more your impulses will flow, and I think you'll be a better actor overall. So, no, I try not to. No.
Did you record sort of all your scenes in sort of separate sections? So first do all the Nicholai scenes, and then did the Nemesis, or did it kind of sort of go between, depending on the day, it depended?
We shot kind of quasi-chronologically, so we did sort of more chaptery stuff, like this is the kind of start, this is the beginning, middle, the end of the story, blah, blah, blah. But obviously, in a lot of things, in filming, the schedule is a little all over the place because of various reasons, like you only have certain actors for a certain period of time, or the script isn't quite finished yet, or something like, whatever the thing is. That's quite normal. And actors have to, it's another skill, another technical skill you have to learn to understand the story well enough, understand the character arc of the character well enough that you can jump in and out as you need to. Because sometimes the story will not be shot in one direct stream. So that's quite normal, really, to be honest. So I was going to say about that, I can't remember what it was.
It's very interesting and very different from a theater production where you're able to have the opportunity to go in chronological order. Usually every time.
But then in theatre, man, that theatre's wild. Because I actually have a point about this. Yeah, theatre's wild because you get one shot. And you get a shot every night, and you maybe get two on the weekend or something for matinees. But you get one shot in that performance, and if you screw that up, you have to carry that through and find your way back. I mean, happy accidents happens in theatre as well. But that's the great thing about performance capture, is that you move like theatre and speak like film. This is like something that I say to people, and I don't always get it right, but this is something I've started saying to people if they ask, like, what's it like? You move like theatre, it's a little bigger than normal, you kind of have to be your intentions have to be very specific sometimes, even if it looks like it's casual and really like random movements or whatever, you usually have to be quite considered. But your performances can be very detailed and intricate. Because especially if you've got an HMC on your head, you're capturing all of your facial expressions, you can have a very small, nuanced performance, which you can't always do in theatre, obviously.
Right.
But and you're always on in the volume. Like the second they say action, even if you walk through a door, your character is still there in the volume, still doing something. Unless you're told to stay absolutely still, you can do something and they can use it for another scene. Or they could use it for a background character, or they could use it for your character if they don't like that. I mean, you're constantly doing something, even if it is just standing still. So, it's a really exciting medium to be in for that reason. I love it. I've found my place in acting. I still do TV and film. I was actually part of the stunt crew for Gangs of London recently, which was a real trip. That was amazing.
Okay.
So I still do TV and film, which I love. But games, man, games has got an incredibly special place in my heart.
Yeah, it seems like a treasure trove of opportunities.
Yeah, it really
and
is.
of course, now being able to, not just do the motion capture, but do the voice as well, because in the past, these have been kind of two separate things. But I imagine as an actor, and Nicole Tompkins talked about this in her interview, that to be able to both do the actions and perform the motions while still delivering the lines as well, I imagine that kind of, does that age your performance?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's full performance capture. It's the full iteration of performance. It's everything. I mean, here's the thing. The gig I did last year, which was amazing for 5 months, I played like 8 characters, and it was really, really well written. And we the actors that it was my production company that was liaising with the company, which I can't mention, obviously. and we sort of helped them in a mini, in coordination and casting and stuff like that. And we found fantastic actors that they loved and that they went with, and everybody gave it 100%. They were completely committed to every scene, and there's some incredible performances. But because the schedule of the game, none of the voices of those people could be used. And they knew that. It wasn't like a surprise or anything, so they had to record at the same time. But they still gave it 100%, and those performances work really well, even if it's just now the movement of it, because the intention was there and they were living those scenes for real. So to be able to do it, whether your voice gets used or not, I should say, I think it's so important for actors when they're doing performance capture for scenes. You have to completely commit to it, and it is a wonderful feeling when you get the opportunity to do everything, because then it is a total experience, and
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's good or bad timing. Just as you said, that Nemesis was literally, as you were saying about, really fully committing. Nemesis just picked up Jill by the head and tossed her across the screen.
That was deliberate.
That was totally planned.
I know what I'm doing. It sounds like I don't, but I really do.
It's incredible how games have come so close to movies that you get that full experience. It's not so disconnected to just saying lines in the studio to have to match up with pre-animated characters. You do get that. Yeah. You do get that. Oh, Nicole's in the chat. She just showed up.
Nicole in the house.
Welcome.
I do love you.
Welcome, Nicole.
I have been lying as well. So.
He's been talking smack about you the whole time, Nicole.
Yeah, she knows where I live, I guess. She is my sister. Yeah, she is my sister. She's an extraordinary actor as well. Now that she's here, I have to say that.
Now that she's here.
And just at the right time, as you were picking her up by the head and throwing her across the screen.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. I mean, listen, I should probably not be talking about all these issues and stuff that we try to raise. I should just be saying what fun this was. But I should now say how much fun we had in this sequence, because flamethrowing her and jumping, scaring her, and trying to just it was so much fun. We had a hoot doing this game. And I know Nicole's listening now, so I know she probably said this, or will back me up, that this was an incredibly fun experience, even though it was hard work and everybody brought it to every scene. We had so much fun, and I guess when you're doing something as horrific and horrible as a story, as a zombie apocalypse, that you kind of have to do that, otherwise you go mad.
Absolutely.
We heard that universally from not just the cast of Resident Evil 3. We were lucky enough to interview some of the cast of Resident Evil 2, the remake.
Oh, they're great. We met them the other day. They were brilliant.
Oh,
yeah.
Of course, yeah. And Jolene Anderson, who plays Ada Wong, she was saying it was just like kids. She said, like in the playground, it was almost hard not to go pow pow pow, doing hand gun.
That's what acting is in some respects. I mean, obviously it's a lot more complicated than that, but the essence of it is playtime. You're playing stories. You make believe stories for an audience in whatever capacity that manifests itself. Like in the playground, it's the people involved and the people watching. In theatre, it's the audience. In television, film, it's the audience from their homes or in cinemas. And in games, it's wherever you are. I guess that you have the ability to do that, which is extraordinary. The most amazing thing about games is the active nature of it. Because TV and film, I've heard counter arguments about this, actually, funny enough. I'm not entirely sure how they come to that point of view, but games are active experiences. Somebody said they weren't, but I don't know if I agree with that. They're an active experience because some games...
Resident Evil games, I mean, just mentally...
Well, yeah, I mean, the story may end the same way, or one or two ways, or how many ways they have in a game, multiple endings and all that. But you're a part of it, and sometimes, very, very detailed... stories that have many multiple endings and blah blah blah. Sometimes it can be really your own take on it. I mean, there's online role-playing games, for instance, are a prime example of how you make your own stories essentially in half the time. So I think having an extra actor, which is the player, in the experience is also something that we have to understand as actors coming to performance capture, because sometimes you go, okay, well especially with things like VR, which is a trip. Because you have to always say, well, the player may not do that. It's like working with the best and possibly most difficult actor ever, because we don't think they're going to look at that. How do we get their attention and stuff like that? So it's a really interesting X factor for an actor to go, okay, I have to do this scene 7 times. because we don't know which choice the actor's going to get, and then the player's going to take, and then the next scene we're going to have to make other choices based on those choices. It's very interesting when it gets to that kind of multi-path level, and it is a wonderful, interesting way of working, because you get to do the scene sometimes so many different ways with the same character. Whereas, TV and film, there's usually a couple of selects, but that's essentially the way they're happy with it's going in. Whereas in games, it can be all kinds of different things. It's very cool. Did that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're just you're preaching, and we're just
intently listening, Neil.
Oh my god, that's such a don't put that in my head, man. You'll see in a year's time I can create a new religion.
No,
hail
no,
the wonderful mighty turtle.
No, this is all very interesting.
King of the shell shall be.
Don't tempt me.
Now, this is all very interesting and informative for me personally, because I do have a background in acting. I have done quite a few years of theater. Nothing major, but community theater. I acted in college and stuff like that. So this is all incredible information to hear from somebody who's in the industry. Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you. And just since we got Nicole here, she can confirm that she actually jumped down that building, right?
She did what? Sorry?
Now that we've got Nicole in the chat, she can confirm that she actually jumped off the side of a building and slid down it, right?
She has confirmed. Yeah, she did a lot of her own stuff. She did a very, very cool combat role. She did do a slide down. I have to be honest, we also, in all of these things, there's also a stunt crew. So some of the things that is impossible to do in a mounted camera, because you'll break the camera and you'll also possibly hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can't do things, and there are either a stunt day if you are a stunt performer yourself, which I've done quite a lot, which is great, or there'll be a stunt crew who are highly trained and incredibly brilliant. And we did have an amazing double for her. In fact, some of the fight sequences, myself and Carlos, we also had doubles in there as well. Because we couldn't kick the shit out of each other wearing head cameras, because it's just not practical. The distance is too difficult, you can get things wrong, and you can damage a 20 grand's worth of camera. So all of us had, stunt performers that helped our performances and worked with us. The point is they work with us, we work together to create a singular performance. So, and that happens to me as well. I get, stunt performers help me as well in my stuff. It's not like it's not like I would dare say that I don't work with stunt performers sometimes, because obviously I do. I'm just lucky that I also get to do stunts, which is great. So I really enjoy both.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's she did do a lot of her stuff, and she did slide down, and then we had somebody do an even bigger slide because it was way more dangerous, and that's what they're paid for, to do these amazing performances whilst taking a bigger risk. So all of us had that, and it's great because when you watch other people, you can only get inspired by their level of skill and go, okay, cool, they can do it like that. I hadn't thought of doing it that way. Very cool. Maybe I can try and use that next time, or whatever.
It's magical to see, really. What was that?
I was going to say, I don't want to make Neil feel too guilty, but I was watching Nicole doing her Resident Evil stream a few days ago, and I think that opening scene when Nemesis burst through the wall and Nicole is sort of thrown to the ground, she came away with a massive bruise. So she's definitely got her war wounds from set.
Oh, for sure. Like I said, Nicole did a lot, and she really threw herself at it. And as a quasi brother, I couldn't be more proud of my sister. She kicks ass. I mean, she looks like a Disney princess, but she kicks ass. She's a kick-ass princess.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I really mean that as
looks
a private
can be
joke.
deceiving.
She has an amazing singing voice. That's the only reason I say she's a Disney princess, not because of her gender or anything like that. I'm just simply saying that she sings incredibly well. No, she's brilliant, and she really went up for it, and she flew with everything that was thrown at her, and everything that they would let her do, and even some of the stuff that she convinced them to let her do, and she pulled it off. She was brilliant.
She's saying that you mocapped. Did you mocap the previous scene there? What was that with Kendo? You're saying, Nicole?
With what?
Nicole was.
mocap Kendo.
Did you mocap Kendo in this?
Yeah, I did mocap. I mocap, I think Dario Rosso and Kendo.
Oh wow!
I did quite a lot of the backgrounds. I actually forgot I did Kendo. Is Kendo the same as Dario Rosso or not? Is that a different person?
No, Kendo's the gun shop
Right.
owner, and Dario is the guy who locked himself in the container.
Oh right, no, oh that's a mistake. Then somebody said I did Dario, and I thought that was Kendo. No, I didn't do. Oh, maybe I did do Dario. Oh, that's really weird. I can't remember if I did do Dario or not. Sorry, too many characters. I definitely played Kendo. I don't voice him. Neither. I think I did a little bit for Dario as well, but I definitely don't voice him either. I was just there on the day because it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough shooting time to ask the American actors to fly from Los Angeles. I've done the flight. It's a hell of a flight. So it's just not fair to ask somebody to come over for half an hour, one day of work to then fly back again.
Gotcha.
So I stepped in to do both their motion captures again because Steve Knievely placed a lot of faith in me, and he's a brilliant director, and he believes I could do it whilst still keeping integrity of the character choices that the other actors made. So again, I feel incredibly blessed to be asked to do things like that. But yeah, Kendo was great. I really enjoyed, and that's the thing, I got to play with Jill in a different way. To play with Nicole in a different way than just being Nemesis or being Nicholai. I got to play another character with her incredible Jill character. So it was really a beautiful experience, man. I had a lot of fun on this.
Yeah, and, that's a stark contrast. You play like an endearing role.
Sorry, I didn't quite hear that.
Well, I think we both said similar things at the same time.
Yeah.
We were saying, I think, it's such an iconic role, Kendo. Not on screen for too long in Resident Evil 2, the original, but over the years, and that's the thing with some of these characters, just over the years, they've just grown and are so kind of beloved and ingrained in the genre. It's why to have these greater production levels of these remakes, and then to have actors of the caliber and the range of talent like yourself and Nicole.
God bless you for that,
it's just incredible for the fans to see and to enjoy.
And again, it's that thing of like, you take the gig, you have to leave your blood on the floor. And Nicole did it, Jeff did it, I did it, Bill did it. Darren, everybody that came to it. So, everybody that was a part of this worked incredibly hard to try and do something interesting with such an iconic game. It's hard to do that because everybody's got their expectations, and everybody will have an opinion, obviously, on what they like and what they don't like. So you kind of, again, like performance anxiety, you just have to forget that and just work hard and work well and play well and just try and do something that you find is interesting and gripping and real. And I think if you commit to that, it's that thing of like, the gamers are the ones, the players, the audience, the ones that should make decisions about the project. We get to play the project, and we're super grateful for that. And it's always interesting to hear people's reactions. But this is for the players, the story's for the players.
Absolutely.
We get the fun in the games in the volume.
I have a very important question for you.
Yeah.
Now, who mocapped the Mr. Charlie head?
I want to say me, but that would be a lie. I think Nicole did that, actually. I'm sure Nicole did that. She was there like 3 weeks longer. I think she said it was just to do that mocap. It felt like she was on their dime, just having a holiday. But I don't know. Yeah, I think nobody did that.
Clearly, a very important question.
Huge important question. Yeah. It's all Nicole. Nicole is brilliant.
Saying the live chat or me.
When in doubt, blame Nicole.
When in doubt, hide behind Nicole.
There you go. That's a more tasteful way of putting it. Yes.
She's tough. No, I mean Nicole. Without going into details, I can't. But we are lucky to have worked quite a number of times together, and to still have her and to have Jeff in my life and to have Bill in my life and all these, and Steve as well. We have a little mini mocap family. We're pretty happy. And I really would love to work with all of them again. It would be, it's a constant thing of find the people you love working with, find the people that bring the best out of you as a performer, and then if you can, at all costs, work with them again, because they'll just make you raise your game time and again, and it'll just be one of those memories that you'll carry through for life. That time when we were out in Japan doing RE3, it's a memory forever. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that took me by surprise a little when in our interview with Nicole, she mentioned recording in Japan, because I suppose it came to that interview lazily presuming that you guys would have been recording, as is often the case, somewhere, you know, in America, often in Hollywood. It was with Joe when he recorded the remake. So that must have been fantastic going out to Japan for the recording sessions.
Yeah, I was lucky. I'd already shot in Tokyo on Final Fantasy 15, Kingslave. So I knew what to expect. I was so excited to go back out. But yeah, we're lucky to travel the world with this job, because it's insane that we travel the world when we're actually in studios, and you know, you could theoretically shoot it anywhere on the planet. So to have that as a gift, to experience another culture, to have that kind of exploration, which I think most actors agree with. You know, most actors are hungry for knowing what they don't know, for meeting people that they haven't met, because all our job is about humanity, right? We're just telling stories about human-like creatures, or humans, depending. I said that like I'm an alien. Human. I am a human too. Yeah. So
I can imagine there's always a sense. I can imagine there's always a sense of wonder. You know, like you want to play. You want to. It is a journey. It is an adventure. And
it is an adventure, and going on an adventure to go to somewhere like Japan and Tokyo, where the people are fucking extraordinary, and the place is absolutely amazing, and the culture is so complex and so interesting and so intricate and so beautiful. It's like all you want to do is honor that by doing good work, and
absolutely,
by enjoying the experience fully. You know, we were out every night, not in like going out getting hammered every night, but going out to explore the city. You know, we were tired on one level, but exhilarated on another. And so we'd always eat out every night. I don't think we ever ate in the hotel, like, ever once. We went out to explore the culture, to soak in Tokyo. You know, all of our weekends were spent out. We didn't like just collapse. We were energized. And we shot I think it was 2 shoots with 2 weeks each per shoot. So these are, you know, reasonably hardcore shoots in that way, of like a lot of energy and stuff.
This is a great thing now. We put on screen now.
I gotta ask you, Neil. I gotta ask you something.
That'll be me throwing him away like a chicken wing.
I really gotta ask you something. How was it to work with the awesome William Hope, Gorman from Aliens?
I mean, oh man, he's delicious. He's a delicious accent.
You know, I could ask that to I could ask Nicole that too, because you were both in the scene, actually.
Bill's brilliant. He's an incredibly funny man. He's also a real gentleman. He has a very wide taste culturally. He's very interesting. He's hysterical, and he's also a really detailed, intricate actor. He really works hard for his characters in terms of level of detail. He really explores the scenes with you. He's also very generous. You know, he's been around, man. He's done a lot of stuff, and he's been in the most iconic films. And it's that thing of like when you work with an actor like that who has nothing to prove, going back to the performance anxiety thing, nothing to prove. He hasn't got anything to prove. You know, he knows the kind of actor he is, the work he's done, and he's really good at it. So when you get to that point, it's just really beautiful as an actor, because you're trusting the person you're working with, you're trusting the director, you're trusting other actors. You can take a risk, you can let them take a risk in that way, so you can roll with what they're doing, and if they come up with something cool, let's roll with that and see what happens with that, and da-da-da. And that's when you start getting these wonderfully beautiful, happy accidents.
Yeah,
and beautiful organic moments that come out of great scripts and great times.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, the original Mikhail, the Mikhail from the original game, always has a special place in my heart, and and I do feel not to say anything bad about it. I do feel that his role was a little bit less in this one, but with the few scenes that he had, I mean, like even just the brief exchange between you and him.
I really hurt my knee on this one. Sorry.
you were mocapping Brad?
Yeah. I was eating. I think this is Mr. Sullivan.
Okay.
I definitely ate his tummy. Yeah, I slammed so hard at him. Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, I didn't even know you mocapped Brad. Wow. Okay.
But just the zombie Brad, not real Brad.
Just zombie Brad.
Yeah, because Darren was Darren's character, right?
Right, that's right, Darren.
Yeah, so I ate Darren in the scene in the bar, and then Darren had to go back to LA because he's super busy. Again, Darren, another wonderful actor and very talented, constantly in demand. So I had to go. I think he went back at that point, so I ended up having to step in to play zombie Brad. It gets a bit blurry, man, because I'm very blessed to do so many different multi roles that I can get a bit lost as which one's which.
I thought we were about to get to a point in the game where you're not in it as much, and it turns out you're zombie bread.
I'm sure there are places where I'm not in the game.
Let's just admit it. You played everybody.
I play everybody. In fact, I tied up everybody on the day, held them at gunpoint, and just went, roll the camera. I'll do it. I'll do anything.
Unlikely scenario.
Oh God, no.
But yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, Nicole suggesting that you mocapped all of Jill as well. So
I didn't mocap her sass. I'm gonna go online saying that. I didn't mocap her sass is all Tompkins, man.
Did you mocap?
I don't have that much sass in my body, let alone that she has in one finger. So all the sass is hers. Yeah.
Did you mocap Carlos's hair?
That I believe is just a gift from the gods. I think Carlos's hair. I think there's a whole wing of R&D developed to move his hair. I think the reason that the game took so long to eventually come out was because they still need to divert most of Japan's resources to making his hair move like that. I have no idea. It's luscious, isn't it? It's a thing of wonder. It's a thing of beauty.
I don't know how he managed to keep so coiffure.
It's mesmerizing, isn't it? It's hypnotic, like an octopus. It's like yeah, I didn't mock up the hair.
But yeah, just to briefly go back, just a brief exchange with you and William on the train. I mean, just very captivating. It's it's also such a pivotal moment in finding out about your character, because now it's like he's planting the seeds of it's pretty funny. Maybe you are a traitor. Maybe you're not who you seem.
Sure.
One little scene like that, and it just speaks volumes, and just the body language and.
But again, it was like Bill's delivery of this moment to tread the line of, because it's a knowing thing. Everybody knows Nicholai's a bad guy. It's like unless you've never heard of Resident Evil, and this is just a random thing that you downloaded. People know this game. So it's a fine line for Bill to tread for saying something that could another actor. It's the same thing with Jeff, man. Like Jeff said lines that another actor may not have got away with because they're so corny, and his character is. But he just owned that character. Bill owned Mikhail, so when he says these things, he treads the line really well. It's interesting. It's compelling. We all know that Nicholai is the bad guy, but he does it in such a way that you're kind of going, aha, okay, you're still with the character. So that's a testament to how good Bill is.
I loved what they did with Carl. And that
really
great thing about this remake is that we've got these characters that UBCS from the original game, and just so much more fleshed out. And
I think so. I think that's the thing. Yeah, that was the thing for all of it. Yeah.
Can I say what that big question I kept saying was?
What's that?
Go ahead.
Basically, in the original, Nicholai was known as a man of mystery because we honestly had no idea what his agenda is, because depending on what path and choices you made in the game, you can encounter him fighting zombies, trying to help, sabotage, collecting data, or killing people. He does not reveal his true intentions till Jill finally confronts him that we learn that he's actually an evil person on a mission. Once again, depending on your choices, he can be killed by Nemesis, or he's left to escape. But in this remake, they kind of introduced him as the flat out, he's the evil guy,
Sure, I think it's also reimagining. People say remake. For me, it felt like it's just a reimagining of the story. Yeah. So they wanted. I don't know much about the development process for this game. Obviously, I was just there for the performance side of it. But they were under a pretty, as a lot of these games are, they were under a reasonably tight schedule for something this big, and there was a lot of work that went into it. And obviously, there's a lot of choices that I'm not speaking for Capcom or the developers of this game because I don't know, but I do know from a lot of friends that are in development, are devs, that there are some choices in games that no choice is arbitrary. Do you know what I mean? There are some times when schedules get really tightened up, or something like a pandemic happens, and suddenly things happen that you can't predict. Sometimes game design and things like that have to change in a way to make it possible to get the game out, or to make the game work in a certain way. I don't know what the choice was in terms of losing some aspects of that. Maybe it was because they had aspects of other things that weren't in the original, or didn't fit into the story they wanted to tell, or their version of that. I can't tell you about that because I don't know. But personally, you know, I don't have an issue with him being the bad guy from the beginning. I mean, it happens in movies all the time, and it's happened in games all the time. So this is just a reimagining of that, I would say. The games, I think, kind of should be viewed in different ways in that sense, that the original was the original. There was nothing that came before it, you know, whereas this one is standing on the shoulders of that game.
Right.
So it's difficult to not have expectations in that way. Same reason that I don't look at the original character of Nicholai. I didn't want to have an expectation of him, you know. I wanted to come to this fresh, trying to forget as much as I did when I first played the game. I wanted to come to my version of Nicholai, and if that means that he can enjoy a moment with Mikhail, almost revealing that he's up to no good, yeah, I'm going to go with that. That's fine.
I do love that moment when Mikhail says that to him. The way he just looks at him and just chuckles. It's like, yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was scripted. I think that just came out of me enjoying the moment with Bill, because he and I did that quite a lot in our scenes. That we just have this moment and we just laugh. He just makes me laugh, man. So I don't know if that was scripted or not. I kind of get the feeling that it was an addition that I just did, and they kept it in for the end of the scene as opposed to hard cutting to Jill and Carlos or something. We definitely had a few moments where they added things in that we did just because it was in the moment. You know, Steve is a wonderful director, and he gets the best out of all of us. I really feel that.
I would love to see a lot of the behind-the-scenes footage of you guys fooling around and doing
I've uploaded a few of my Instagrams, but I haven't got that many because obviously when you're shooting, you're not allowed to take pictures, so it's really hard. We snuck a few out there on Instagram. I think Nicole has some, and I have some. I think Jeff.
Yeah, I think we've seen some great videos that Nicole's been sharing on her Twitter feed, and thank you, Yoke, in the live chat, who's been posting up links to your Twitter, Neil, and also to Nicole's Twitter feed. Thank you, Yoke, for doing that.
Yeah, and my Instagram's the same. It's Neil Newbon. Wow, and, sounds so technical.
Well, something Nicole has been doing herself is streaming the game, and fans have been tuning in and asking her questions. We've got a question here for you, Neil, from Purely K. Gelberg. Have you ever considered streaming yourself on Twitch and playing the game yourself?
I think we're doing that. I think we're actually going to do that. We're going to. I think that's in the workings, man. Yeah. The one thing I would say is that I keep a very strong line, between my private life and my public life. And I'd love to stream. I think it'd be great to Twitch, but I'm a little careful about my family and keeping their privacy private because it's fair to them. So, you know, obviously having to Twitch from my home is it's a funny one, really, because it's like there's a kind of the bottom line. The reason that I'm so private is really many reasons. One, I'm the person in the public eye. My family aren't necessarily, so it's not fair to put them in that position, especially if one of them is too young to have a choice, for instance. And the other thing as well is that the less that you know about my private life, the more you will go with my character. And I think that's the important thing for me as well, is that if you don't know what music I listen to in the shower, or you don't know that I play certain instruments, or you don't know what food I like or what I don't like, and then when my character likes something or does something, you're going to go with that.
That's interesting.
As opposed to thinking, oh, well, I know for a fact that he does this or he does that or like that. So that might be subconsciously in your head. You know, if anybody gives a shit, obviously, because I'm assuming that somebody might give a shit about that. But if they generally do, then it might infect my performance.
Well, I think
I don't want it to. I want it to be like, nobody's written about me, right? I'm not a character in a game or a film or a story or something. So I wanna honor that character by making them the thing that people are interested in, and I'm just the dude that just gets to hold the jacket.
I think that's interesting, and I mean particularly when the people that are well, I say watching, but hearing your performance, and that's the point, that they're not relying on your physical emotions that they see in the facial capture, but more very much on your voice, and that's what's getting them through and getting them to engage with the character. It's hearing your voice performance.
Thank you.
So yeah, no, that's an interesting take, and I can see that, because perhaps if it were, say, an actor that we knew so much about, maybe say some sort of kind of celebrity that were always kind of in the tabloid news, and that
I
would be
mean,
quite
look
jarring.
at Brad Pitt is a wonderful actor. He's a great fucking actor, man. I like his stuff. I know way too much about his private life. I feel sorry for the guy and people whose private lives are ripped apart publicly when they don't ask them to. I mean, obviously, the danger is that, I guess, if a person, not just an actor, if a person takes money to put their private life on display, the danger is it's going to come back to them because they own you. They do. That's the way it works, right? So, but if you don't ask for it and people go for you, I think that's awful because it's not fair. And people say, "Oh, well, you're an actor, you're in the public life." It's like, well, my work is in the public eye. I'm not. I'm a very, very private person in those respects.
Yeah.
I will talk about the work endlessly, and anybody that meets me at any of these things that I've done, I'm happy to talk to, and I hope I give you enough time, that you feel is good, that I can spare, and blah blah blah. But my private life is my private life. That's not up for sale. That's very much a protected area. Because it's not interesting to anybody other than me and my friends and family. I hope. Yeah.
Well, people in the chat are now, don't worry, they're not thinking about you in the shower after that comment. They're now kind of trying to surmise they're now trying to surmise what sort of music Nicholai would be listening to in the shower. I think someone, I think Yoke mentioned Adele. I can't quite see Nicholai being an Adele fan.
I'm going to leave it to the fan fiction on this one. I make a music list for every every character I play as an actor. That's private. That's part of my. It's basically, it allows me to inform the rhythm of the character. I even do it for the auditions and if really important, like really complex auditions and stuff that I have to do. I did one the other day, which was like really interesting, and I really wanted to nail the character's rhythm, so I explored that quite a lot. But that's for me. That's my. It's like actors should never talk too much about the methodology they're using, especially when they're doing it. A, it feels like they're a little insecure about it, and B, it probably won't work as well. It's private, it's just for you, right? So it doesn't make a difference if nobody ever knows that you reference this tool to get to this moment, because quite frankly, who cares? It's like the final performance is the interesting thing. It only matters to the actor, which is as it should be, quite frankly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that you make a music playlist for each of your characters, because I once met Vincent D'Onofrio. We went to...
Oh, cool.
My girlfriend went to Lee Strasberg Institute in New York.
Oh, wow.
And he
in
was
New York.
there
I wonder if she came across Roberta Wallach at any point.
I think she went the year of 2013 or 2014.
To ask if she's ever come across Roberta Wallach. She's one of my teachers. She's a wonderful friend as well. And she works a lot in New York. Yeah, okay. She's an amazing teacher.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, I completely destroyed your question.
No, absolutely not. No, but there was a screening of Vincent D'Onofrio came in, and strangely enough, his daughter, what's his daughter's name? I can't remember. She was going to school at the same time. She was actually in my girlfriend's class, and there was a screening of Full Metal Jacket, and he came in as a guest to watch the film and then do a Q&A.
Wow.
So I had the privilege to be like a +1 to that, and he was explaining that when he was doing Full Metal Jacket, that he would often listen to music to get him into the mode for Pyle. So it's interesting that I think music, in general, it can set a mood or a
it's so evocative, and I think I've started learning. I know I'm not going to tell you what I started learning. It's my private life.
Right. You don't have to go into it, but
I just want to hear what's on Nemesis's music list.
He actually plays the xylophone. He's very good at that as well. Just hammers away. People think drums, but actually, he's more considered than that. No, I don't know. But the music list is super important because they set the rhythm and the heartbeat for me of the character. So I think I've ignored your question. I'm so sorry. Am I vaguely in the right way because I've talked too much? Sorry.
No, but I'll let Sunny come in on that question. If I just quickly add to that, because obviously music and the fans listening in the live chat will appreciate this. Music has been so important in the series, and it's what really I wasn't particularly a gamer of sort of combat and the Call of Duty style games, and when I came to Resident Evil, I played the remake of the original with a much slower pace, and
it was brilliant. It was quite extraordinary.
But the atmosphere that you get from kind of almost each room has its own signature track.
Dude, listen to Star Wars without the music. That on YouTube you can see that Star Wars without the music. I mean, I know it's a comedy thing as well, But music is, especially in film, it's like half the story. And games, why should it be any different? It's a big part of the story, and it can make such an impact because it's so evocative. And it needs, unless you're critiquing music, it needs no intellectualization. It's sensorial. And I think for an actor to have a music list or to listen to a piece of music that allows you to get into a scene or something, it allows you to ungum your brain, which sometimes can be your best ally and your worst enemy. And again, it goes back to, that performance anxiety. Sometimes people get in their heads too much and they stop getting in their bodies and they just get completely trapped in their heads and they start overthinking everything they don't need to think about. They can just do it. So, music is incredibly useful, I think. I mean, listen, Vincent is, I don't know him, I'm calling him Vincent because I'm a fan, but Vincent D'Onofrio is an incredibly talented actor. And when I saw Full Metal Jacket for the first time, I was just stunned into silence by how good he was in that role. It was, and all of them, the whole thing is a beautiful masterpiece of acting. Was it Lee? I can't remember the guy's name who plays the Sergeant Major, who was a real Sergeant Major in the Marines.
Oh yeah.
He improvised that. Most of that is improvised.
Right. Yeah, because he was an actual sergeant. Yeah.
Yeah. Lee something Marshall, I think, something like that. I mean, he was living his truth. I'm a huge fan. Living his truth, his best life.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's impressive.
And that's it. That's what you want to get as an actor. You want to find that moment of total truth. Commit to it. Even if you're playing a 9-foot mega monster who's just trying to destroy everything, there's a truth to it. You know what I mean? And you have to. R. Lee Emery. Thank you, Cloud. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, R. Lee Emery. He was amazing. You just gotta. That's the thing about acting. It's complicated and simple. And he was a real Vietnam vet. That's true. Yeah, he is. So it's that thing of living a truth, honestly for the character, getting your shit out the way so you can play their story, which is infinitely more interesting than your story in what you're doing.
Personally, from my small experience, I love to be able to. I love to occasionally be able to be somebody that's not me. I think it's just an incredible thing. I guess especially when you're a villain, because you wouldn't want to do most of the illegal things that they're doing.
Man. I mean, that's why we play games, isn't it? And that's why we watch films.
Yeah.
It's the beautiful escapism and sometimes the empowerment of it as well. You feel great. Obviously, I'm going to go on. Obviously, we have to go on record and say, your real life is always more important than games. Always, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
The games have their place in entertainment, and I genuinely think they help people. The trick is to remember not to neglect your real life as well. I'm a gamer. I don't have that much time to play games anymore. But I still play games when I can, in a way that says my real life is more important because I have responsibilities and shit to do.
Yeah.
But I still love games. I love games. But I also have a very healthy relationship now with games because at one point I didn't. One point when I was very down and in a place, I played too many games and I got lost in that world a little bit for a while, and it didn't actually. It was very dangerous because I could see how I could miss the opportunities of life. So I am a gamer, I work in games, I support games, but please have the balance, everybody, in your life.
Don't let it consume
games and real life.
Yeah.
This is so important. Especially when you're trapped. I'm very blessed. I'm around family and friends and I have a good place to live and blah, blah, blah. A lot of people aren't in that situation. A lot of people are isolated, alone, literally, or in a place that's very bad. And, I feel for people that have those kind of situations, and games can be an outlet, and communities can be a great outlet as well. But it's difficult to stay strong in that situation, but you must. And if that means sometimes putting down a controller, doing something else that you haven't done to help balance that out, then you should also do that as well.
It's an amazing answer, Neil. Thank you, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, one of the most wonderful things that's come out from starting this website, I started it in 2010, and just a kind of a blog, and obviously I won't go into details, but I was in quite a bad place at the time, and I really wanted to try and drag myself out of a very, very black and negative place, and so I started this little blog. And over the years, the messages that I've had from people from all sorts of kind of situations that, for whatever reason, may have found it challenging or difficult to be social or to socialize with people or to communicate, and just who kind of found this community, this Resident Evil community, and who've let me know that the website has done something for them, or that Resident Evil has done something to help them connect with other gamers, and to be able to engage with people in ways that maybe they found difficult to do, outside of gaming. So yeah. I really feel what you're saying is wonderful.
And I think on that note, I should probably be going.
Such a long time,
because I have talked to you so long, and you've been so nice, and at no point have you ever said, "Shut up, Neil." It's like been over 3 hours.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding? We were waiting for you to tell us to shut up.
Thank you so much for indulging me, and you have totally indulged me. It's been brilliant. Thank you so much for talking, and also for allowing me to put some of my points of view on acting and I guess on life a little bit as well. Again, these are all my opinions. People can challenge me and say, it's bullshit or whatever. These are my opinions. So please don't take that as what you necessarily should take as advice or anything like that, or how acting is. This is just my experience. So
can I ask you 2 last questions real quick?
Please do.
Are you looking forward to hearing yourself as Nicholai in Resistance?
Yeah, that was a ball, because I worked with a great director called Jamie, and who's based in LA, and that was unexpected as well. I didn't know I was doing the multiplayer mastermind thing for that, and it was just fun. That was actually me kind of holding hands with Nicholai, having a hoot, and just sort of breaking the rules of him.
I just imagine that.
Yeah, I actually found it a little hard, and Jamie was really patient and really sweet, because it was very difficult for me to get into the character, because we broke the character so many times. With the stuff he was saying, but then I realized what it was. It was like, this is fun. This is just supposed to be a gag and fun and just a hoot, and it's the character, but it's more than that. So just go with it. And actually, I really enjoyed the experience. But it was a bit like, oh shit, I've just broken the character. What am I doing? But it was interesting. It was great to actually do that. It was I guess it was kind of like a good kick to my own ego to say, yeah, it was good, but let's just have a bit of fun now. Okay, don't take it so seriously.
Yeah. I'm beginning to notice that more and more. It's like the characters are just it's like they're on purpose, just like being goofs.
It's fun, man.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fun,
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be a hoot.
Yeah, definitely. What's the other question, Aaron?
The last one is, do you have any social media where fans can see any announcements or projects you will be having coming up?
Yeah, I've got a website which is newbon.com. It really needs updating, and you can see all my work in there, including some extra stuff that comes out. I've got a Performance Captured Academy, which is my academy. That's performancecapturedacademy.com. And my Instagram and my Twitter is both Neil Newbon. So I usually put things that I'm allowed to talk about there. I can tell you off the record, well, not off the record, this is on the record. I can tell you there's at least eight projects, none of which, and sadly, I can tell you anything about, that are going to come out over the next couple of years. And I'm so blessed. They're all incredibly fun things to be a part of. And
well, we know we can't say. We hope it's in some way Resident Evil related, but of course we'll be posting. Neil, we'll post links to all your social media platforms in the description.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Yoke's also sharing it in the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
I have to say, I may not respond to everybody, but I definitely try and read everything. And I'm very blessed. And if you hate the characters, you can totally tell me you hate the characters. It's really okay. You're supposed to.
We hate everything about what you've said today, Neil. Everything. No, just kidding.
I think
it's been incredible.
Count for you with Susie, the Sphere Hunters in live chat, saying that eight projects.
Oh, just 8.
Possibly more. I actually lost count a while ago of what I've done. I've been very lucky with the work that I've done. So yeah.
Speaking of which, I'd like to draw attention and kind of plug you guys. I believe that Nicole is holding a stream tomorrow in which you will be joining her, and as well as Susie the Sphere Hunter.
Yes, we are. That's what I was alluding to earlier. Yeah, we're doing a Twitch thingy.
Yes.
Which is the technical term, obviously.
And this will be on Nicole's channel, correct?
Yeah, this is Nicole's channel, which I'm very happy that she invited me along to play. It's really fun.
Well, then can I sneak one more question?
Do it.
Very quick, Aaron, because I just wanted to very quickly say to let you know we've got fans from all over the world tuning in, Neil, and you were apologising to us before for indulging you. I mean, my word, thank you so much. It's you're over here with me in the UK, and we're approaching midnight, and we called you up just after 8 o'clock, so you've been with us for many hours going into midnight. So thank you so much, Aaron. With the very last question, go on then.
Why do you think Nicholai would tell Jill to take him with her at the end? Do you feel that he wanted them to take him in order to kill them?
No, I think he sees a good deal he's a great bargain hunter. He's very good at flea markets, I think he genuinely is seeing another way out. The line that defines him for me was, where is your sense of self-preservation? It's that line, right? Yeah. That's the line that makes me understand him best. That he doesn't have the kind of ego that says when he screws something up, he's gonna be all defensive. It's more like, yes, I tried to do this. I tried to kill you, but listen, I can give you something. I can give you information. It'll die with me, is what he's saying. It's like it's fair. It's a fair deal. It's like, take me with me. I get something out of it. I will give you the information you want. Otherwise, it dies with me.
Right.
This is pretty straightforward, So I don't think he's trying to kill them. I don't think he can. I think he's in his position. He knows enough to know that he's outgunned, outmatched, and he won't be able to get the... And also, he shouldn't, because there's a nuclear explosion about to go off. Right. I think it's a genuine, here's a deal, man. I think it's pretty fair.
The heated debate about that final scene is that there is a second helicopter in the background, so he did
I know, right?
To escape.
I know, how exciting.
And he does know how to fly. He definitely knows how to fly.
Capcom.
So. No,
I would like him. I would like him to survive. I don't know if he does or not. It's up to the Capcom.
To many of us, we think he lived at the end of the original remake because it makes more sense because he's the only villain that's still alive in the Resident Evil world.
Right. That would be cool.
Right. Yeah, that would be great.
I completely support your hypothesis of this.
He's my favorite character.
Thank you. Bless you for that. Thanks.
Yes.
One of those projects just might be Resident Evil 8. You never know.
Who knows,
Okay.
He better not be dead.
All right, Neil. We've taken up too much of your time. You've been You've been past the point of generous with us. Thank you so much.
Cool.
It's been
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for coming and joining us and sharing all the goodies you have.
All good. See you later, folks.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you to Nicole in the chat. Thank you so much, Nicole, for popping in, and obviously everyone will be tuning in to seeing your stream with Susie. Is that right, Artie, with Susie?
Yes, it's gonna be at Nicole's channel, so it'll be at Nicole Tompkins on Twitch, and Neil will be joining Nicole, and Susie will be moderating it. From what I understand.
And they will be beating me down for talking at great length. You lot are far too nice to me. They're way harder task people, I guess the expression is.
We'll be joining you tomorrow, don't worry.
Yeah, we'll see you there, definitely.
All right.
Take care, everybody. We love you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks,
care. Everyone.
Stay well, stay safe.
All right, take care.
Yes, stay well, stay safe, everyone.